Hello, parents. How are you doing today? Today we have a special workshop. It's the Behavior Support Toolkit for Parents, and I have Kiana Dunn. She is our behavior interventional specialist. I have her on, and she is going to give a great workshop today. Make sure you sign in. I am going to select 3 parents to win prizes. I hope you enjoy. So here is Miss Kiana.
Hey, Ms. Harper, thank you so much. And again, welcome parents, and please do not forget to sign in. She has some wonderful gifts. So what are we going to talk about, and how is that going to be helpful to you? Well, today we're going to cover the Parent Behavior Support Toolkit, okay? And this toolkit has a variety of helpful hints and some different strategies that you can use at home to help you during this time. And this is being presented through the Department of Student Discipline, Prevention, and Intervention. For our overview today, it starts out by saying that every child has the power to succeed in school and in life, and every parent, family member, and caregiver can help. As the Behavior Intervention Specialist team, we are committed to supporting schools, students, and families virtually and face-to-face. Guys, now we recognize that selecting materials can be so overwhelming because there's so much out there. So we have selected resources specific to coping and behavior management. Now, this quote right here, this quote right here spoke volumes to me. And it states, encourage and support your kids because children are apt to live up to what you believe of them. So where much is expected, much is given in return. Now, guys, before I even get into the presentation, if you have any questions, please comment in the chat section. Ms. Harper is going to assist me by reading out the questions, and I'll try to get to as many as possible. Okay. Truths about parent involvement. Parents have hopes and goals for their children. They differ in how they support their children's efforts to achieve those goals. The home is one of several areas that simultaneously influence a child. The school must work with people in order to help the child succeed and to benefit. The parent is an important contributor to the child's education, and parent involvement must be a legitimate element of education. Some additional truths of parent involvement. It's a process, not a program of activities, and it requires ongoing energy and effort. It requires a vision, a policy, and framework. And we have to have a consensus of understanding. Parents, we are, and I say we because I too am a parent. One of the biggest challenges that we face is managing difficult behaviors on the part of our children, right? And what does that look like? So whether they're refusing to complete their schoolwork, being defiant, throwing full-blown tantrums, sometimes we're at a loss for effective ways to respond. This is even heightened now in today's time due to our pandemic. So yes, some of us are at our wits' ends. So some of the behavioral therapy techniques that I'll be talking about can provide a roadmap to calmer, more consistent ways to manage problem behaviors and offers a chance to help children develop and gain the developmental skills they need to regulate their own behaviors. Now I've said a lot, but we're going to start with the ABCs of behavior management at home. Now, to understand and respond effectively to problematic behaviors, You have to think about what came before it. So we're going to call that the antecedent, okay? That's the preceding factors that make a behavior more or less likely to occur. So it happened before the behavior. The B would be behaviors, the specific actions that you are taking to encourage or discourage. So whatever that behavior was. Then we have our consequences. Guys, these consequences are naturally or logically, and they follow a specific sequence. So generally it follows the behavior. Consequences are positive or negative, and they affect the likelihood of the behavior recurring. The more immediate the consequence, the more powerful it is. And that's important to remember. The more immediate the consequence, the more powerful it is. Creating structure and routines. So we talked about the ABCs of behavior: antecedent, behavior, and consequences. Now we're going to talk a little bit about routines and what that is and why it's important. Routines give children a sense of security, and it helps them develop self-discipline. Children, like the rest of us, we handle change best if it's expected and occurs in the context of a familiar routine. So if they know it's going to happen, if there's a routine that's been created and it's used consistently, then sometimes we can account for some of the behaviors. This PowerPoint is going to be housed at the Parent Academy. So I want you to go back through and click on some of the links. There's one particular link that we will share in the chat box, but for the other ones, I would like for you to go back and review because some very important information is in there, such as at the bottom of the slide, it's suggested daily schedules. So now we're going to have suggested daily schedules. We're virtual, we're still online. So teachers already have a schedule as to what class is supposed to look like and the day is supposed to look like. So we have to make sure as parents at home to structure the routine. A part of that is talking about the physical space. Now, when it comes to physical space, if your space allows for it, please, by all means, have a defined learning space. Consider the seating and the lighting. Minimize distractions as much as possible. Try to organize the learning materials in specific locations and spaces. Give everything a place. And separate your learning space from the play space. Again, we can't account for everyone's space, so please just be mindful when trying to set that up and work through it accordingly. The next slide talks about communicating effectively. Plan for each week. Schedule each day in advance. Please, number 3 is so very important. Check in with your teachers and define clear social media, texting time to socialize with friends. Going to be a bit transparent. I have my own children at home. One is in the 5th and the other is in 10th grade. It has been flowing so much more easier for me when we started planning that Sunday for the week. So we're planning ahead. I'm even planning what we're going to have for lunch and what that's going to look like so that it's not happening the day of. Yes, we check in with the teachers frequently because things have changed. The learning styles, we're having to become flexible. And when we talk about social media and texting, make sure they don't have the phone. You know, that these things are not with them while they're learning because it can be a distraction. This slide just shows a virtual schedule from one of our schools. And it goes over the time, when lunch, virtual Fridays, and so forth, virtual free Fridays. Setting expectations and rules at home. Okay, so this can go unsaid. We all have rules. At school, there are set specific rules when it comes to students and the learning environment. Now, since the pandemic, a lot has changed. So because of that, there are some rules and expectations that should go on at home that flow consistently with what was happening at school, because now their learning space is at home. So what should we be doing? Okay, when we talk about rules, bring common understanding to the core values of your family. Discuss what is our goal. Reinforce positive behaviors by providing clear, consistent language to respond to disruptions effectively. Encourage independence, self-management, and confidence. And this is good for all ages, whether you have a toddler or a teenager, or all are adults in the same house. Setting expectations and rules at home is very important. But when developing rules, consider the following. Input. That is everybody in the family. And don't have a laundry list of things. 3 to 5 rules for each setting / routine. Okay. So getting up in the morning, school throughout the day, homework, what that looks like. And when we're talking about setting up the rules, try focusing on stating it positively, such as no back talking, but instead of saying it like that, we could say follow directions first time given. Don't hit your brother or sister. Keep your hands and feet to yourself. Stop yelling at each other. Use a quiet voice. Make good choices. Put your clothes in the hamper. I like that one, because when we're saying making good choices, when we're actually specific, it helps them, especially the younger ones, to identify what is it that they're truly looking for. Now, this is a big one. Acknowledging positive behavior. When we do this at home, positive practices at home, it promotes self-control, teaches responsibility, fosters strong self-esteem, and it assists with making thoughtful choices. Now, examples. Some of the examples, again, being specific, positive, and highlight the behavior you are happy to see. Haley, thank you for being respectful and waiting until I was off of my important phone call. So you said thank you. You pointed out what the child did, and you said what they did, which was positive. So being specific. Now, this is a biggie, guys, because we're all going through something right now with this pandemic. This is all traumatic for us. But not just the pandemic, but the civil unrest. So it's a lot that children are dealing with in addition to adults. So this slide and the slides following is going to be helpful when we talk about what is coping. Coping means to face and deal with responsibilities, problems, or difficulties in a calm or adequate manner. Again, coping means to face and deal with responsibilities, problems, or difficulties in a calm or adequate manner. How do we help the children to cope during this time of the pandemic, COVID-19? Now, when parents and caregivers deal with COVID-19 calmly and confidently, you actually provide the best support for your child. So we have to watch for certain behaviors, though. Excessive crying or irritation in younger siblings, excessive worry or sadness, unhealthy sleeping or eating habits, poor school performance and avoiding school avoiding school, logging in, all of that. Difficulties with attention and concentration, unexplained headaches or body pains. And for some of our older ones, the use of alcohol, tobacco, or other drugs. Now, when we're talking about dealing with coping, and if you notice some of those things and you're needing some help, you can contact your school social worker, contact the school in general, and we'll get you tied to the counselor, the social worker, and myself, the behavior intervention specialist. And together as a team, we can work together to getting your child some help. Now, here's some additional tips. The following are useful tips to keep in mind when teaching your child coping strategies, right? And skills. Let your child feel bad sometimes. It's okay. It's actually normal to have certain feelings when things are happening. Don't forget, though, to praise your child. And go after every event, debrief them, talk about that event and see how they're feeling. And prompt your child. Say things like, it looks like you're feeling frustrated. So getting them open and ready to talk. And make sure coping skills are in moderation. Again, this PowerPoint would be shared in the Parent Academy. So there's a variety. It's over 99 at the next link. 99 coping skills. Now, healthy at home, lowering stress. How do I keep a healthy perspective and lower my own stress level? Yes, I said it, to lower your own stress level. It is way easier said than done. However, when you are well, so is your child. So the most important thing is to limit what you are seeing and where you're seeing it. Go to factual sites so you can filter out some of the misinformation. Keep up with your own self-care routine, exercising, sleeping, eating as routinely as possible. Maintain communication with friends through technology and as safe as you can. And finally, remember that this too shall pass. How do we lower the stress in children? Well, while children under stress may not be able to describe it, we can see their stress through their behaviors. So a happy-go-lucky child may become very clingy. The child may anxiously ask the same question more than once, even though you've given them the same answer every time. Children may have more difficulty with sleeping or eating. So you can reduce your child's stress by pointing out all the things people are doing to help. Look for ways to empower your child to help in his or her own way. I've added a link also on that slide as to what are some of the things that can be done. Now, social emotional learning is something that I know that you guys have heard. Our teachers are reviewing it every day. It's critical to pay attention to the development of the whole child. And this is including the character education. Parents have a dual role to play in raising a self-aware, respectful child who knows how to manage his or her emotions, make responsible decisions, and resolve conflicts nonviolently. At home, you should strive to create an environment of trust, respect, and support. At home, again, in providing that environment of trust, respect, and support, here are some specific steps that you can take to nurture the emotionally intelligent child. Be a good listener. Model the behavior that you seek. Nurture your child's self-esteem. This is so very important. The nurturing of the self-esteem, especially at the young age, helps to build a child that is so much more self-aware and one who has a self-worth that is intact. So the nurturing of the child's self-esteem is very important. Respect differences and take advantage of support services such as this one and more that we have at the school. Now, the following slides are going to go over several of the resources. The first one says resourcing small changes in behavior. This goes over, it's an article that reviews ADHD and explosive and defiant behaviors and different ways that the parents can help the child. The next one is the social emotional learning at home, and it helps you to create a behavior system in the home. So this is also a good one. The next one talks about top 7 behavior management tips. Many behaviors can be minimized by controlling your response to them. So this site talks about what you can do as a parent to control some of the behaviors based on your response. So ensure your child understands why his or her behavior is a problem. Explain why the behavior is a problem. What will be done about it? Model appropriate behavior for your child. Show by your actions. Recognize that behavior change can take time. That's important. It's not going to happen overnight. And the old adage of you do it because I say so doesn't generally work for the long haul. And plan ahead for safe and appropriate options when behavior is a problem. Okay, so I know every household is different. I am not on here by any means telling you how to run your household. This is some resources that can help. So this site talks about alternatives to spanking. Based on research, experts offer productive and concrete alternatives to spanking that parents can implement after young children have misbehaved. Give a timeout to your child. Give yourself a timeout. Implement logical consequences. Say no and mean it. Show, don't tell, and focus on positive behaviors. This one talks about the fact sheets. Get your fact sheets here. Talks about anxiety disorders, bullying, ADHD, and autism. The one below talks about the mental health fact sheets, things that teens are talking about and coping with, and different myths about mental illness. Now, when we're talking about working with your child's temperament, every child is different. And for the parent who has more than one child in the home, you guys can attest to the fact that one child may be this way and the other child may be completely different. That's when we're talking about child's temperament. So this site is really good because it gives ideas and different things that you can do to help the child based on their temperament. Okay. Avoid using confinement as a method for discipline for all temperaments. Okay. Acknowledge your child's feelings and provide ways for them to make themselves more comfortable. Create a routine, even if it seems odd. Ask the child or children to sit down with your family for dinner, even if they're not hungry, or go to bed at a regular time, even if they're not sleepy. That's a great routine to start with if you guys haven't been doing it and you can. Setting down at the same time for dinner is a great one. And going to bed at a specific time every night is even better because you can be more productive when you're well rested. Teach the child or your children to make their own decisions rather than going along with peer groups. That's very important, especially when they get older. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that the teens are dealing with currently. Teach appropriate ways to express feelings of sadness, anger, fear, and frustration. Teen mental health and coping. We're talking about anxiety, depression, addiction, vaping. Okay. The link below that talks about how teenagers can protect their mental health during COVID and some different things and strategies that they can use. This one talks about substance abuse and mental health services, quarantinagers, strategies for parents in close quarters. We're all in this together, but for most, a little bit more difficult. And this talks about some different things that you can use for managing anxiety at home and over reopening. I know a lot of parents have been talking about, in addition to the parents, the children reopening and what that looks like. This one help guides for children and with behavior and learning challenges. Now, with our relationship building and self-care, children may understand the intricacies of adult life, but they are acutely sensitive to parents' emotional states. So when the parents stressed out or anxious, children may feel fearful. Try to slow life down as much as possible and engage in family time activities, especially during the evening. Again, like I stated before, try to eat dinner together, read stories at bedtime, talk about the day. These little moments cement your relationship and give children the security they need. Some activities. Again, these are just some suggestions. Making decoration, creating a playlist, throw a family dance party, try a new cookie or cake recipe. We've done this where we set up the camera and did a cook-off at home. Go camping in the living room. We've done that. That was fun. And we always play board games. That's another activity. And the making the ice cream in the bag is actually really cool. You can look into that. That's nice. Dress up in your best clothes and have a fancy dinner at home. Make friendship bracelets. Create a family tree. I love having the pizza party at home. Make your own popsicle or create a scavenger hunt in your backyard or neighborhood. That's actually fun, creating the scavenger hunt and breaking up in groups and seeing who can find the things on the hunt. Now, I stated before that there are some things that teens are dealing with, and this next slide talks about how to prevent teens from texting and driving, and it goes over some of the important things that are happening during texting and driving and what happens. That's a good one to show your teen. This slide right here talks about 8 things you and your teen need to know about sexting. Guys, this is very important to sit down with your children to talk to them about, because not only are some things going across the internet and through the phones, these are some things that can actually bring up charges on the children. So they need to have understanding of what sexting is, especially our teen, because it's actually against the law. Again, 8 rules for smartphone use and how to use it, and make sure you're tracking and you know what they're doing. You're not snooping, but you're having an open dialogue and conversation with your child about their safety and how to safely use the smartphone. And in addition to just the smartphone, when we're logging in online, as far as the things that we're saying, our attire, and how we're presenting in the cameras. Because again, making sure you stay informed about student code of conduct. Learning about vaping and e-cigarettes and tobacco. Asking your administrators to refer you to the Aspire program if there's an issue with vaping and e-cigarettes. But just staying informed about the code of conduct. This last slide is the one that I wanted to share. Everything that we talked about is basically summed up here in the calming room on different things that you as a parent can do to help your child de-stress and to just stay calm. We have in this virtual calming room virtual books where the children can actually, you can play for your middle, your high school, and your elementary children. We have virtual field trips at local zoo and aquatic centers here and also in California. We have apps dealing with deep breathing and mindfulness and how to practice mindfulness for our elementary, middle, and high. And then the apps to help the parent on how to practice mindfulness and helping them to cope during this pandemic. That is all that I have for you guys. I am so glad that you joined me and stayed with me and listened. And I hope this was enough information that's going to at least help you in helping your child. I think, again, at the Parent Academy, this is going to be listed and you can click on the link. And if you have any information for me at all, do not hesitate to reach out to your school, or you can find me at Kiona, Kiona, .dunn at clayton.k12.ga.us, or reach out to your teachers, admin, and ask to get the information for the behavior specialist. I'm sorry?
I was like, parent liaison, reach out to me as well.
Yes, the parent liaison. How'd I leave her off, Miss Harper? Yes, reach out to Miss Harper. She has all of my information. And I am open. I actually have times on Mondays between 3 and 4 o'clock where I'm available live for the parents at Rex. And I need you guys to log in and get more information and work on some of this social emotional learning and to help your child be the best they can be and to also assist you in helping them.
All right. Good. If any parents have any questions, please drop it in the chat real quick. If not, make sure that you are logging onto that Parent Academy. The link is in, I'll just post it right now. The link is right here for you. Click on it, select your grade, enter in that code. I will be loading this workshop so you have access to all of those things. And I do want to say about the virtual calming room, it is amazing. It is a major resource. Ms. Dunn walked me through it the other day, and it is something that I plan on using for myself and my family. Please make sure you take a look at that. Let me drop the link for that real quick again. So there's that right there. It's amazing. That's all I can say. But other than that, I hope that everybody have a good evening, and we'll see you on Wednesday. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, and take care and be safe. Bye.